This week on Dance of Joy, we talk about Mariah Carey's Namesake, Hurricane Whiplash, and the innocence of 90s television romance. All that and more as we watch Season 5, Episode 16 of our favorite 80s hit sitcom, Perfect Strangers. Hello and welcome to Dance of Joy, a Perfect Strangers rewatch podcast. My name is Sophia. I am one of your hosts, and joining me as always is your other host and my brother. What's up, Imran?
Hi, sister. How's it going?
It's going all right. What's going on with you?
Oh, nothing new. Just trying to stay grounded here.
Grounded?
In Chicago, otherwise known as the Windy City.
It is windy.
Trying to get not blown over by life and adulting.
Well, that is very appropriate
Gale-forced
way to
winds
feel
of the universe.
this week. All of those things, very appropriate things to be thinking about this
I'm
week.
hanging on for dear life.
As we discuss Perfect Strangers episode 16 of season 5 entitled Nightmare Vacation.
Another pretty literal title here.
In case you are still with us and wondering what my brother's references were all about, you would love to know that the TV guide description for this episode read, Larry plans a getaway for the foursome to Club Paradise, a tropical resort whose serenity is shattered by a hurricane.
Shattered.
By a hurricane.
Hurricane, force winds, nightmare vacation, says it all right there. Of course, with our amazing cast of Bronson Pinchot as Balky, Marklyn Baker as Larry Appleton, Rebecca Arthur as Mary Ann, and Melanie Wilson as Jennifer, and one dude on the guest cast list who you've seen in a bunch of places. We will mention when we meet him.
Nightmare Vacation, and as we're starting to understand already, pretty much any vacation with these four where Larry does some planning turns into a nightmare vacation.
Yes.
How many times have they nearly died already?
And yet they keep going.
And
but
yet they keep going.
They might change after this one. We'll see how close they get to.
This particular Nightmare Vacation aired on February 2nd, 1990. February being wintry and cold in Chicago, a perfect time for a getaway to a tropical island.
To a tropical paradise. Stream all of this. You can watch along with us, listener, on Amazon Freevee, all 8 seasons of Perfect Strangers. Streaming for free. Check it out. Follow along. Let's do this.
Let's do it. Act 1. We are in the apartment, in Balky and Larry's apartment. The girls are over. They're sitting on the couch. Balky's on the couch with them. And we finally see Dimitri after so long. And he's not on the shelf, but Balky's holding him.
He's in the scene.
Dimitri.
Balky's holding Dimitri this whole time. And it's a Dimitri that doesn't have a black nose. Sometimes Dimitris have a black nose.
Oh.
Sometimes they got like a gray nose.
Yeah.
I might have been Stunt Dimitri. Stand-in Dimitri. The real Dimitri was booked on Broadway or something. So, anyways, though, this is a very fast opening as Larry just explains the plot of everything right in the opening as they flank the girls. And Larry is telling them that they are not going to believe the vacation he has planned for them. Uh-oh. That's the problem there.
And to add to that problem, he's also very excited that the vacation he's planned is well within their budget.
Okay, so it's going to be cheap.
So here's Larry being frugal and planning a vacation. Not a good recipe right there. And he says he runs off to the bedroom to get the brochure to show them. And as soon as he's out of the scene, Jennifer turns to Balky and says, we're not going.
We're not going. Just right away. Like, she's not having it already. I don't blame her. She says, when Larry comes back, Balky, you're just going to have to tell him, we're not going. And Mary Ann wants to know where it is. Where are we not going? They don't even know where they're going. Jennifer's out already.
Jennifer's like, doesn't matter. If Larry planned it, we're not going.
Ooh, harsh. But
so we get there.
Instinct.
So this is interesting to me because clearly they have been on enough vacations to know that it's a bad idea. But I hear stuff like this, and I'm like, why are they even still couples? Like, why is Jennifer still hanging out with this guy?
He's almost got them killed several times.
Yeah.
We've discussed it.
Maybe she likes him for everything else except the vacations they plan.
I mean, there was the skiing mishap. He got them locked in the basement when the water was filling up and they were going to get electrocuted. Not a vacation.
So his vacations are known to the girls and to them as life-threatening.
They go camping. Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But Balky's like, listen, ladies, things are going to be different this time. I looked at the brochure and I think, and he says, just between you and me, I think I can safely say that this time everything's coming up noses.
Everything's coming up noses.
It means roses.
Roses, or nowadays you can do the everything's coming up Millhouse.
Yes.
Thanks to The Simpsons, which I love when people do that.
Coming up roses.
Roses. And Mary Ann or Jennifer goes, Balky, I still haven't got my luggage back from our last trip. They must have flown Southwest.
And
that's all I can think of.
And Balky again tries to defend Larry. He says he just wants us all to have a good time. He's trying to make up for the past mistakes. But Jennifer says, yeah, but that's the thing. When his intentions are good, that's when he's the most dangerous.
Yes, poor Larry. He tries so hard.
And then Marianne kind of goes to Balky's side. He's like, maybe we should give Larry another chance. After all, he paid for our medical bills last time.
Well, that's great. Good for Larry to take care of whatever. Yeah, Jennifer goes, well, my tetanus shot is up to date, so you might as well use it. You got the shots. You don't have to.
All right. So Balky has convinced them, but they're clearly expecting the worst from the beginning.
Yeah, they're in, though, after much hemming and hawing as Larry comes back, right? And he goes back. He has the brochure. He's sitting on the arm of the couch, and he's not expecting them to go, so he's going to have to convince them. He says, everything is set. We are going to paradise. As he holds up the brochure, and Balky goes, well, if we all follow the golden rule, I don't know why not. A very Christian joke.
Biblical joke.
Yes, yeah, the golden rule, and then you go to paradise. He explains, no, they're going to Club Paradise, a small resort island tucked away in the warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico. Now he's expecting a fight, and right away Jennifer goes, great, we'll go.
And Larry doesn't hear her at all. He's expecting a pushback. He says, no, just hear me out because it's got sunshine, beaches. And Marianne's like, sounds wonderful. He still doesn't pick up. He's like, I know I've messed up before. Just give me a chance. Got great shopping. And Balky's finally like, cousin, they're saying yes.
He's like, they are?
He's like, what? And he says, okay, that's great. And then he like shakes it off and he tells Balky, I told you there'd be no problem.
Oh, usual Larry bravado.
Oh boy. Okay, so quick setup.
So they're all
girls are reluctant.
He's found a cheap place.
We have
reminded
reminded the audience of
how
past
dangerous
disasters.
This is. Yes.
On Larry planned trips. Very quick.
Quite
very
efficient.
Yes.
Because right away we transition and you see the shot of an island and palm trees and beach and this like biplane landing on the beach. I don't even see a runway. It's a very weird shot. And then they also cut to an exterior of the place called Club Paradise. What's interesting about that establishing shot of the plane, it is apparently been, that's a recycled shot, repurposed.
Oh, wow.
It's been in countless different series, most notably The Odd Couple. The episode titled Felix the Calypso Singer used the same shot.
Yeah, I guess back in the day, again, like these episodes and these shows were spaced far apart. You couldn't really like recognize one thing.
It's cheap. The studio, we're not shooting this again. We already got this. The Odd Couple
was like quite a while before
that was
this
like
show
60s, 70s, right, yeah.
Wow, they used a shot from the 70s. Okay. So then we close up to the set or whatever it is, and we're in Club Paradise. We see kind of an external. It's like a hotel that looks like a bungalow.
Yeah, 2 stories. But then we cut to inside, and it's kind of tacky and a dump.
Shabby.
Yeah.
It's kind of crummy and run down. It's like decorated with like very kitschy vacation stuff. Like
it's very tacky and loud and green walls and a patterned sofa and just a lot of wicker and wood, and there's a bar.
And so they all enter, and there's a guy carrying their luggage, and he puts it all down at the desk. He says, here we are. Hope you enjoy yourselves. Someone will be right with you. And then he leaves through like a doorway to a back.
He says, here we are, Mr. Appleton. So they've
here we are, Mr. Appleton.
They've introduced himself. He's wearing like a helmet. And
Larry's feeling quite proud of himself. So the guy sets down his bags and leaves. He's like, someone will be with you. And he's feeling quite proud of himself. He says, "Didn't I tell you this was a great package? We even got free transportation from the airport." And Jennifer looks at him in shock. She goes, "It was a mule cart."
So Balky felt right at home, though, coming over. He's like, "Oh, this is great, cousin."
And then Marianne kind of is like looking around, taking it all in. She goes, "I don't believe this place." And Balky's like, "Me too. This is nicer than the Howell's Hut in Gilligan's Island."
I was waiting for the Gilligan's Island reference.
Because it's very Gilligan's
Island.
Island.
The whole thing has a very Gilligan's Howell theme. The Howells, of course, being the richest
the millionaire and his wife.
So they would have had the nicest hut, even though they lost all their things. And Larry's trying to play it up. He goes, "It's island. It's native." And Jennifer's, "It's falling apart." To add the punchline.
Yes.
And I love this next line as Balky walks over to this plant. He goes, "I love this place. The whole sense of decayed elegance. Fabulous. I love decayed elegance."
Decayed.
That's great.
Yeah, like falling apart.
That's an interior design trend to look out for in 2023. I'm telling you, decayed elegance is coming back.
And Larry's just saying, like, look, it just has character. Anyway, we're going to be most of our time on the beach anyway, so don't worry about it. And he says, "Let's check in." And then there's a little like Balky acting childish, wanting to ring the little bell on the desk. So he rings the bell and he goes, "I'm having fun already." And then the same guy who brought their bags in comes out from behind the door and he goes, "Well, hi there. Welcome to Club Paradise. I'm Mac McIntyre and you are?"
Which he already introduced himself.
Mr.
He said, and then Larry's like, "Appleton? Larry Appleton?"
Yeah. And then he's like, "Great, we're glad to have you. I'll just get someone to help you with your bags." He rings the bell, and then he runs around to the other side of the desk.
He goes front, and he's his own bellboy.
And then he picks up the bags again. He goes, "Follow me." So all the jobs are this one.
It's just one dude working at Club Paradise.
And we cut next to like this hallway with a couple of doors to their rooms. And Mac McIntyre is leading them to their rooms, and he goes, "They shot papillon here, you know? Papillon meaning papillon.
Papillon. It's papillon. Did he say papillon?
Papillon.
Because I thought it was papillon. Papillon is a pretty great movie.
Yes,
I've seen it. I've seen it, and this is kind of like a joke, foreshadowing. 1973. Steve McQueen, Dustin Hoffman. About a murder prison colony on an island in French Guiana, South America, and their attempts to escape it. It's got a tragic
based on
ending.
A true story.
It's a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
But I guess the joke is they're about to experience a hellish island experience, just like Dustin Hoffman had in Papillon.
To escape. Yeah.
But that is a weird, funny line where he's like, "They shot Papillon here," because that was a horrible island.
And. Okay, so he gives them their keys and he leaves and he goes, "I hope you have a wonderful weekend in paradise. Mi casa es su casa," and he walks away. And Larry's like so excited to get started on this vacation now. And they're still in the hallway. And then he suggests to the group that they take a swim and then go into town and shop till they drop. Jennifer's like, "Cool, we'll change and meet you in the lobby." And so they eat. So the two,
they're standing in front of two doors.
Yeah, Balky and Larry
go
stand in front of one door, and Jennifer and Marianne stand in front of the other door.
And
they're both with keys in hand, about to enter. Then Balky and Larry, in unison, look at the girls and they go, "Bye bye."
Oh.
And then the girls, in unison, look at them and say, "Bye bye." It's so cheesy. And then they each turn the keys in their doors. They go into the room, and we cut to the other side of the wall and see them both entering into the same room. Just two sets of doors into the same room.
Hilarious.
But they can't see each other yet because they're still kind of in the doorway, and the doors are open, blocking their view of each other. They're
looking away from each other, right? Marianne's like, "Interesting wallpaper," and suddenly Balky perks up and goes, "Boy, these walls are thin. It sounds like Marianne is right here in the room with us," which of course she is. They're both standing in front of the door. And then this is so funny. They both slowly turn and the two couples look at each other.
Toward each other, yeah.
And they're just
where there's supposed to be a wall.
There's supposed to be a wall.
Between two rooms, but there's no wall.
And they're just standing there staring at each other. And then Balky...
And then I totally saw this line coming.
What is the line
Balky
that you saw coming?
Boy, these walls really are thin. He's staring at Marianne. He says, I can see through them. And then he goes, I wonder if they can see us. And he starts making funny faces.
Kind of like Bart Simpson would do, with his mouth. He pulls his cheek, pulls his cheek out,
his tongue out.
and he goes, no, they can't.
Because Marianne doesn't react at all.
They're just standing there staring
in
at
shock.
And then Jennifer goes, Balky. And Balky goes, ah! And he jumps. He's like, oh. She's like, what are you doing in our room? And Larry's like, we're not in your room. This is our room. They are both standing in the same room. There's been some confusion.
And then they do they try to figure it out. So they all go out one door. And Larry's like, look, we're in 101. And they go out one door and they come back in the other door. You're in 102. And then when they come back in the other door, they look around and Balky goes, wow, this room is nicer than ours. But it's the same room. And Balky says, well, I'll be snookered.
Yeah, Larry tells him this is the same room. But Balky wants to look at the positive sides. He jumps on the bed and bounces. He goes, cousin, this is great. Now when you call out Jennifer's name in your sleep, she'll be right here.
Oh, burn, Larry.
So Larry's been calling out. Well, first of all, why don't they have two rooms with the couples?
Yeah.
Like, why aren't each of the couples in a room?
Because we're on TGIF.
This is TGIF.
And they're not a family. They're young people in their 20s.
It's a very slow progression
they don't want to be suggestive.
They are not at that point in their relationship. They're taking it very
Although
slow.
shows now would do that for sure. Like all the shows on streaming, they don't care about the audience.
Still 1990 wasn't that?
In 1990, even though these two couples have been dating for like 3-4 years by now, they are still not.
Jennifer does nothing but yell at Larry this whole episode.
Rooming.
Deservedly.
They're still not rooming together.
No. So they're, and Jennifer's like, Larry, this is not going to work. And Larry says, no problem. I'll just call the front desk. We'll sort this all out. No problem. He wants to help.
He says, I'll ask them to send up another bed. And then Jennifer's like, and another wall. So we hear Larry on the phone, his side of the conversation, and he's talking to Mac. And he says, we only have one room and we did pay for two. Simple math would tell us we're exactly one room short. And then we hear him go, okay, I see. Okay, let me get back to you. He hangs up. And we find out that there are two other rooms.
Uh-huh.
One is a little flooded.
Okay.
And the other one has snakes. But they're not poisonous.
Oh.
And Mac has said they could take their pick.
Oh, well, that's nice of Mac to say that.
And Balky's like, duh, what kind of fool would want a flooded room? We'll take the snakes.
We'll take the snakes.
And the girls just kind of like look at him in shock.
Jennifer's like, Larry, you did this to us again. She wants to get their money and get out of there now. And Larry's trying to soften everything. He's like, look, there's a little problem with the rooms. I'll work it out with Mac. Hey, and then he gets all smarmy. I love when he gets smarmy. He's like, hey, this place is going to look great from the other side of a suntan. And then Jennifer just flat out goes, this is the worst vacation I've had with you since the last worst vacation I've had with you.
Ouch.
Wow. She remembers.
And she goes into the bathroom.
Oh, yeah, she storms into the bathroom and shuts the door
shut. Yeah. And Marianne goes after her to calm her down or whatever.
Larry's not getting the clues because he just looks at Balky and he goes, what's with her?
And Balky says, call it intuition, call it common sense, call the wind Mariah.
Okay.
But I don't think the girls are happy here. So even though I love it, I think we should leave. Okay, what is call the wind Mariah?
This is a reference that was old in the 90s. So like I love when we get one where I don't even know what they're talking about. They call the wind Maria or Mariah. It's an American song with lyrics written by Alan J. Lerner, music by Frederick Lowe for their 1951 Broadway musical Paint Your Wagon.
Wow.
Which is set during the California Gold Rush.
Wow.
Then they made a movie of Paint Your Wagon in 1969 starring Lee Marvin, Clint Eastwood, Gene Seberg. And in the film, the song was performed by Harve Presnell. You can look that up on YouTube. I listened to a little bit of it. And apparently Mariah Carey was named after this song called The Wind Mariah. It must have been a big song still. Yeah. And I think a lot of people covered it But I was like,
Wind, Mariah.
I remember hearing people reference that. I never knew what it was. I did hear the song. It's a good song.
We learned something.
Yeah.
All the Wind, Mariah. Anyway, Larry's kind of upset because he has put a lot of thought and planning into this vacation, and he needs Balky's support, okay? So he's like, let's just sort out the room thing, and then the girls will be fine. And then we hear both of the girls scream from the bathroom, and they come running out, and they're screaming, there's a thing in the bathtub. And Larry tries to be all macho here, thinking it's like a bug. He's like, relax, we're in a tropical place. There's going to be bugs. I'll take care of it. And he picks up a newspaper and like rolls it up to smash whatever bug. And he like bravely saunters into the bathroom. And then we see him like go out of our sight because he's gone into the bathroom toward the tub.
Pull back the shower curtain.
Then you hear him pull back the shower curtain. Then we hear the most hilarious Larry shriek. And he comes running out. And he comes running out. And he goes, it's either a spider or a very hairy Volkswagen.
Whoa.
So something large.
Large and hairy in the bathroom. Larry is not killing it.
And the girls look terrified and unhappy, and we fade to black.
Well, now they can't use the bathtub. That's fine. That's the end of Act 1. Listener, join the conversation. Join our Facebook group where I post episode threads for every episode we record. You can leave your comments, thoughts, memories, observations, and meet other Perfect Strangers fans. All a lot of fun there. Link in the show description.
Act 2. It's a bit later that day. We're now in the lobby of the hotel. Balky and Larry are kind of like dressed up for a nice night out or something. And they're playing that game where you slap each other's hand, where one person puts your hands in the palms of the other, and then
you got to flip it over and hit them. I didn't know this game had a name.
It has a name?
Apparently, some people refer to it as red hands.
Red hands.
Which makes sense if you think about
keep hitting
the
them,
slapping of the hands.
Red,
But the way they're playing it is a little weird because he does it from like under above or above and under. I don't know what they're doing.
Larry just keeps slapping Balky's hands over and over again until Balky grabs his nose.
Yeah, he's just repeatedly going, ow, ow, ow. And then Balky grabs his nose and Larry yelps as they keep slapping. Yeah. These are like two little boys having the time of their life, oblivious to everything else. They can entertain
themselves wherever, yeah.
Yeah, in fact, Balky goes, cousin, I know we're having the time of our lives playing this dumb game. Again, he reiterates to Larry, he doesn't think the girls quite share their enthusiasm for this place.
And Larry's like, what do you mean? The girls are having a wonderful time. And then the girls enter and Jennifer goes, Larry, I hate this place.
Right away. It's the first thing she says.
There's no swimming pool, no golf course. You have to rappel down a cliff to get to the beach. I've actually been to a place in Turkey where you had to rappel down the cliff to get to the beach, and it was awesome, actually.
It's awesome, but not if you're on a resting vacation. Yes. You don't want to have to work to get to the beach, but it sounds kind of fun, actually.
And then Marianne's like, why did we even get dressed up? There's nothing to do. And Balky points out the amusement park next door, and Jennifer's like, that's a refinery.
She means like an oil refinery that's next door?
Yeah.
You thought it was an amusement park with lights?
Yeah.
He wants to ride the smokestacks. Is that a ride?
And then Larry's like, fine, we'll leave. You want to leave? We'll leave. And just then Mac enters and he's spraying the air with one of those like hand pump insecticide sprays.
Yeah, like the old timey. It's like a cylinder with a pump spray and a can at the end by the nozzle, like you see in the cartoons.
Yeah, and he comes in spraying, and then he goes, mosquitoes. Watch out for the dead ones. You could turn an ankle.
Oh, my. What does that mean?
Balky makes a very funny, like, oh, my goodness face.
That's a giant mosquito that you're going to trip over.
Yes.
Larry asks Mac, what time does the plane leave for the mainland? Mac checks his watch and goes, about 20 minutes ago. Uh-oh.
So there's no plane today.
There's another one tomorrow, he says. And Larry's like, okay, we can leave tomorrow. In the meantime, let's just try to enjoy the time we have now.
Yeah. And Balky's like, look, I think we're all probably just hungry. And he suggests they go into town to sample the island cuisine.
Good idea.
Great idea.
That's the spirit.
So Larry asks Mac if he can recommend a good restaurant on the island. And Mac responds by pulling out like a cardboard thing with a tablecloth and like a vase of flowers attached to
Glued onto it.
and covers the little table that was already sitting there with this board, turning it into a makeshift restaurant table. And there's chairs around it. And he goes, "Welcome to Chez Mac."
And Belky goes, "Oh," and he goes and sits down. And Mac goes, "Do you have reservations?"
And we find out that not only is it a good restaurant, it's the only restaurant on the island. And he says, and here comes like a very classic joke that we can all guess the punchline
Island
to.
joke, yes.
He says, "We did have a little Tex-Mex place on the North Beach, but it went under last week." And Marianne says, "Oh, it went out of business?" He says, "Nope, it really went under. It sank. We've got sinkholes all over the island."
And then he laughs after saying that, which is hilarious.
Which is actually a different joke than I would have expected. I thought it would have gotten like underwater, but he
flooded.
means like it sank into a sinkhole.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Larry's like, "Guess we're eating here. I've got a good feeling about it." And Jennifer's like, "You do? Okay, let's eat here anyway."
You can't trust anything Larry wants.
And then Mac comes back out from behind with like these 4 coconut shells with little cocktail umbrellas in them, and he introduces himself again. "Hi, my name's Mac. I'll be your waiter this evening." And he tells him the specials are in the house, but he will need those umbrellas back.
Wait,
he's got to
so
reuse
he goes, the specials are on the house.
I think
so
he means the drinks, the cocktails.
Oh, they're
that
free.
He's just given them, but he needs the umbrellas.
He
back
needs the
to
little.
reuse them.
He only has 4 of them. So Mac leaves, and Larry's sitting there sipping on his little cocktail, and he's trying to just, overcompensate. He's like, "Well, now this is nice, huh?" And he goes, "This is what it's all about. This is why you get up in the morning. This is why."
And Jennifer's like, "Put a sock in it, Larry."
He just won't shut up. He's trying to make it better, and she just shuts him up. Why does she even date him?
Why? I don't know. We never get that answer, but somehow she does.
Let's talk about that dude, Mac, for a second. He is played by character actor James Hampton. I've seen this guy in many things. He's
been in a lot of things.
He has one of those faces, but he's had regular roles on F Troop, The Doris Day Show, Teen Wolf, Full House.
Yeah.
He's also directs episodes he directed episodes of Evening Shade, Grace Under Fire, Sister. He's written for television. Funny guy, great character
Hollywood
actor.
Guy. Okay, so the girls are not happy.
Jennifer
but
just told them to put a sock in
sipping cocktails, and they have to make it through the night till the flight tomorrow. And Balky pulls Larry aside. They go and sit on the couch on the other side of the room, and he starts telling Larry a story about the most pig-headed pig farmer on Mypos.
Oh, it's about Myposian story time.
Whose name was Oinky.
Oinky.
Here's the story. One day, Oinky thought he had made the deal of his life on a prize pig. Only when he got it home, he discovered that it wasn't a pig at all. It was a dog in pig's clothing. His family was going hungry because there was no bacon, but Oinky was stubborn. Even when his pig chased cars, buried bones, and bit the mailman, he refused to admit he'd made a mistake. Oinky's family finally left him on the day his pig had puppies. Because of his stubbornness, he had to spend the rest of his days alone.
Well, he did have the puppies to keep him company.
So he's trying to make a point with this story to Larry, but Larry doesn't get it. He says, "What's your point?" And Balky says, "No matter what face you put on this hotel, it's still a dog."
It's still a dog. Also, Oinky maybe just needed glasses. I don't know.
Yes.
We'll never find out. But I love the lessons you get from Balky's stories.
And he tells Larry, "Your pig-headedness is costing you your friends."
And Larry starts whining. He goes, "But I wanted so badly for Jennifer to enjoy this trip. I thought this would be my chance to make up for the..." And Balky goes, cousin. It's over. And Larry's like, you can see in his face, he accepts defeat. He's like, "Fine." And they get up and they go back and they sit at the table and it's quiet for a moment. And then Larry just finally blurts out, "All right, I booked this on a trip to hell. I'm sorry." And the audience applauds
because Larry
admission of he actually said it was his fault.
Yeah.
Which is, the people who can never say it's their fault and they blame it on someone else. Larry is textbook one of these.
Owning his mistake.
But he's owning his mistake. He has grown. He says we can leave on the plane tomorrow. And he says, "I promise never to plan another vacation again." Look, he's trying to make things right. I just love that reaction from the audience. Right?
Yeah.
He goes, "I booked this on a trip from hell." People were clapping.
And even the girlfriends appreciate it because they kind of turn around a little bit. Marianne says, "I guess we can make it through one night." Jennifer says, "Not the end of the world." And Larry's like, okay, let's just spend a quiet evening and enjoy the peaceful solitude of a tropical island. And just then,
when suddenly,
the doors and windows all fly open opposite from where they're sitting, and we get this gust of like a violent wind.
There's wind. There's things blowing around.
Things blowing around in the
you
lobby.
Hear things tearing and ripping away. Mac comes back from the kitchen. He goes, "Sorry, the kitchen's closed." And Larry's like, "We just sat down."
All their hair is flying around. It's like windy.
Legit. They have a fan there.
Yeah.
He's like, "We just sat down. How can we close?" And Mac goes, "Okay, it's not closed. It's gone." Because things like that happen in a hurricane, and the girls go hurricane.
And then we get this like panic music.
Well, and everyone's yelling because the sound of the wind is really loud.
And so they're like at this table yelling over this wind. There's wind blowing in their face, and Balky says, "I've been through hurricanes on Meepos. The first thing we have to do is find the sheep."
And then they get up and they run. The two girls and Balky get up and run to their rooms. And Larry is sliding, getting blown off stage by 200-mile-an-hour gale force winds. And then we transition to a shot of like a tropical island with a hurricane and
almost
really
comical
lightning effects. Yes, and the music turns into like Gilligan Island music.
The music really reminded me of Gilligan's Island, like, oh no, something's wrong
this
music.
Over dramatic, like throwback sitcom
like circusy
music.
drama music.
And we cut back to their room, and the room is a mess. The bed is over on the side. Things are knocked over. It does not look at all. There's like leaves and things in the room. The window's open. This hurricane has wrecked their room. And the girls walk in to their side of the room, immediately get blown and get thrown onto the bed. That's on the far left side of the room.
Window, yes.
And the wind is blowing, and then Balky walks in, and he's standing in the wind, and then he starts to do a real slow back bend.
Yeah, like his feet are planted, but the top of him is being
this is pretty impressive because he's almost like a 90-degree angle backwards.
Yeah.
And then he eventually falls onto the bed with the girls. And then Larry comes in and he struggles and he starts to make his way towards the windows, fighting the wind. Now, I know there's like a fan here, but he does a really good job of pantomiming walking through a storm, right?
Like, it reminds me of
that's quality theater work.
You know, it does remind me of oftentimes having to walk in Chicago against the wind. It's really hard, and then you feel like you're doing that acting gig.
They have that shot in the opening credits too, where they're flying in the wind. But like these two are good at the pantomiming of the wind. Anyways, he makes it to the window and manages to close the shutter windows. Larry says, "We'll be fine in here." He's like, "I think we've seen the worst of it." And now they're all sitting around thinking about their mortality.
Yes. And we have some touching moments here that Balky says to Marianne, "If I die, I want you to have my Wayne Newton albums."
Wayne Newton mentioned. We know Balky loves Wayne Newton.
And Marianne says to Jennifer, "If I die, I want you to have all of my clothes and Balky's Wayne Newton album."
So she's assuming Balky's going to die before her.
And then Jennifer walks over to Larry and says, "Larry, if I die, I'm taking you with me."
Oh, snap. See, no mercy, no love for Larry. See, I love that. She's like,
and Larry's like, "What is everyone talking about? You're talking about death. We're going to be fine. The storm's about to pass." And just as he says that,
he goes, "They blow and then they're gone."
And then just as he said that, those very windows that he managed to shut blow open, but not only do they blow open, they just like shatter into a million pieces.
It explodes in the room. It shatters. It's a pretty good effect. They all go flying across the room and get tossed back on the bed.
But like is back.
That was a good effect because like it looked like somebody could get hurt from all the pieces of wood flying.
We're not talking about windows. We're talking about like shutters of windows, like
wooden
bamboo
shutters
or wooden shutters. Yeah.
But I love how it just exploded on his cue. That was fantastic. And Larry's like, "Balky, do something."
They're all on the bed at this point, and they can't get up. They're struggling to get up because the wind is so strong. Balky says they have to cover the window with something to block the wind, and Larry suggests the mattress. Cover the window with the mattress. So they all kind of like scramble to get behind the mattress, behind the bed, and they lift up the mattress, all four of them, behind it. And they walk like with the mattress as a shield in front of all
very
four of them.
slowly. They're pushing
against the wind toward the window. And they take a couple of steps, but then the window, the shield also gives the wind a broader surface area.
Yes, it does.
So the wind, another big gust comes. They don't make it, pushes all of them back, and they fall back onto like the box spring of the bed with the mattress on top of them.
It's a bed sandwich.
So yeah, they're in the middle. Yeah.
And then suddenly Larry goes, the bathroom. And Becky pops his head up and goes, oh, Carson, you should have thought of that before the hurricane. It's just really funny.
Larry's like, no. I mean, let's take cover in the bathroom. So they get the mattress off of them, and they all kind of like push against the wind. Now they're all doing this acting.
Well, but and now they're like in a conga line. Everybody has their arms wrapped around the person in front of them.
So Larry's in front.
In the lead.
Everybody's got their arms wrapped around the waist of the person in front of them, and then they step in unison. And
left
it's
foot,
very, very funny.
Right foot, left foot, pushing through the wind to get to the bathroom. Larry opens the door to the bathroom to reveal the bathroom no longer really there. The wall's gone.
The toilet spraying water.
Yes, there's water coming out of the toilet straight up in the air. And Balky goes, good news, the spider's gone. Oh, he's finding the silver lining in this.
And then they all get blown back to the bed again and pinned down on the bed.
There's one final amazing physical stunt here, but this mattress bit, I have a quick clip from a talk show in 1990 of Rebecca Arthur talking about this very scene. Want to hear it?
Yes.
Written comedy, too. Your show has a lot of very physical, not so spoken.
Yeah, usually the guys get to do all the physical stuff, but we just did this hurricane show where, it already has...
Boy, hurricanes are pretty funny, too, huh?
They had these huge wind fans. It looks like they had moved in airplanes onto the set, and these humongous propeller things. And I had everything on the soundstage in my eyes for a week because it just kept, it blows. But we did this thing where all four of us fell on a mattress when we were trying to put a mattress up against the window, and it was so much fun because you would just go down, your feet would fly up in the air, and it was a blast. I had whiplash the next week. The next week I was like walking around going, oh, what did I do? I don't remember stopping short in the car, but it was from this silly hurricane show.
Where do you come? She got whiplash
My
doing
goodness.
that. That is from AM Los Angeles, March 1990.
Wow.
A Los Angeles morning talk show.
That is dedication to your craft.
Yeah.
Getting whiplash from the stuff.
They were getting blown around. In fact, we got some wire work coming up right here because after the bathroom bit, the girls and Balky are blown back to the bed.
Yes.
Larry's still in the corner holding up the door, but you can see on his face he's starting to get worried. He's like, oh, what's going on?
Yeah.
He grabs onto the edge of the wall, and then you see his body just get lifted up, and his legs are dangling back,
blowing him off the ground.
This is like hundreds of miles an hour. Wait, that would be doing. He's perfectly horizontal now.
Yeah, and you can see the cables in some shots, which made sense because they're filming this in front of a live audience.
You see cables at his hips and on his feet.
Because his feet elevate higher
Yeah,
than
he's a
his
straight line horizontal.
And then Balky, and then he's screaming, Balky, help, help. And Balky crawls over against the wind and grabs onto Larry's waist. And then Balky's waist elevates too, and his feet go even higher. So they're both being blown in a chain.
This is a great image.
Off the floor by the wind.
Two guys grabbing onto each other straight across.
So great.
And like Balky's wire, like kind of, it hits the light in a certain way where it's really noticeable. You see the light, but then I noticed on their feet, I was like,
I don't think they were trying to hide them.
No, this is like Peter Pan when you do the flying gig. You can't, it's like live theater. You can't hide the wires. You just like the top of the lighting is dark, so you hope
it
disappears in the darkness.
It's dark on purpose.
But you can clearly see the wires, which I love. I love stuff like that. They're really, this is real. They're doing it.
And then the gust of wind must have calmed down a little bit because then they both drop to the floor.
Then it just stops. That's the big climax. It just stops, and then they literally just fall on the floor.
And then Larry's like, I think we've finally seen the worst of it. But then there's another gust of wind, and the entire wall behind the bed breaks away and flies off into the rainforest or whatever behind them.
Yeah.
And they're all on the floor. And Balky looks up. He goes, "You can see the refinery from here." Through the wall.
I didn't expect the wall to rip away, so that was kind of a neat little stunt too. This is.
How do they do that on a stage? They just pulled.
In reality, they would have all died.
Yes.
But this is 90s sitcom era. So that is the end of their vacation as we cut back to...
We don't actually see how they make it.
Yes, get them how they survive, where their stuff is. Did they have their luggage? Well, they had their luggage because the next scene, they're back in the apartment and they're carrying their luggage. And Larry just has a very sad, dejected face. And Balky just seems very tired.
And Balky, ever the good-hearted person, says, "Cousin, you know what the best thing about going away on vacation with
This
you
is a great line.
He says, coming back home alive." I just love it.
You know, in a way, Larry gives them a sense of being alive, right?
Having survived something.
You're always going to be...
Larry's like living life.
I mean, he's living life to the point. He's going to give you an excited time.
Larry's credit.
He's going to give you memories you're never going to forget. It could have been just some boring vacation, but no. It makes you appreciate coming back home in
all
one piece.
in the name of staying in your budget.
Also, I want to note, Balky is holding his backpack and like a blue gift bag from his trip. So they both go and they walk over and they sit down on the sofa. And Larry's like, I think I'm going to take a vacation from planning vacations. Good idea, Larry.
And Balky's like, you don't have to do that.
Oh.
When the girls and I were pulling you out of that sinkhole, we decided to never let you plan a trip again anyway.
Okay, so they fell into a sinkhole after the hurricane bit. Wow, that's another whole episode. This could have been a two-parter.
Yes.
But they didn't make it.
And Larry apologizes for ruining the entire weekend. And Balky says it wasn't a complete waste of time. He got some neat souvenirs.
Oh.
And Larry's like, oh, you didn't buy one of those visors from Mac, right? And Balky says, of course not. Don't be ridiculous. And he picks up the gift bag and he puts it on the coffee table in front of them. And he just says, remember that spider we saw in the bathroom? And then the bag starts to move back and forth.
Left and right. Oh, my God. What is it, this bag?
And Larry looks horrified. And we cut to credits. Roll credits.
Balky got a new pet to bring back.
How did he get that spider through customs?
Yeah, no flora or fauna can be transported. Anyways, listener, check out our TeePublic shop. It's danceofjoypod.com/shop. You can get cool swag, t-shirts, hoodies, cell phone cases, mugs with the Dance of Joy logo. Lots of fun things there. Visit it now. Link in the description. You know what? What do you think of this episode? We got to return to some physical comedy, which the last episode was missing, even though that was a great episode.
Physical comedy. We had the great guest actor who played Mac. We had like this funny setting, right? That wasn't the Chronicle or their apartment.
New location.
The story, the logic points fall short a bit because I'm like, why would they? Why is Jennifer even still dating Larry? But I liked what you said about Larry giving everyone, like Larry really having life experiences.
Yes.
Giving everyone a sense of the.
Listen, now
alive.
they know how to get out of quicksand. They know how to survive an avalanche. They know how to survive a hurricane. They can get out of sinkholes.
Bears.
They know how to handle bear attacks. I mean, he has really taught them a lot of important things in terms of survival. Larry should have been like a survival training expert.
Yeah. Well, he gets them into the situations first.
But I do love the gag of Larry planning trips and it goes bad. Even though he said this and they've established he's not planning.
They're probably going to see it again. Yes,
because this isn't even like there's a two-parter like next season or this season. Mm-hmm. Usually that's the vacation or the something crazy they're about to die episode. So it's interesting that they did this in a one-parter, but still funny.
Oh, Larry, when will you ever learn?
He's trying.
He's trying so hard. He just wants to impress his beautiful girlfriend who is still with him for some reason. Despite not sharing hotel rooms with her boyfriend.
Yes, they don't want to be in the same room. Anyways, what did our listeners think of this episode, sister?
Our listener, cousin Maria Khalaf, writes, a really funny episode. Even loved the reference to that song from Paint Your Wagon. They call the wind Mariah. That's what. Oh, it's Mariah Khalaf. I'm so sorry. Mariah Khalaf. I think we've been pronouncing it wrong this whole time because she says that's where I got my name.
Just like Mariah Carey.
Like Mariah Carey.
Oh, my God.
Amazing.
Mariah Khalaf and Mariah Carey.
Mariah, thank you.
Wind, they call the wind.
So people named Mariah will always appreciate this reference, I guess. You know, I work with the Mariah. I'm going to ask.
You should ask her. Were you named after this song?
Yeah.
It's a song big. What does this song mean to you?
Cousin Nicole Stoner writes, I might be the odd one out in admitting this, but I don't think Larry was entirely at fault for ruining this vacation, unlike the previous ones. His intentions meant well, but outside circumstances such as the weather made it worse. If anything, he should have looked into what the weather was going to be like, or Matt could have told him a hurricane was approaching. Not a bad episode by any mean, but this one's not my favorite of the ruined vacation episodes.
The ruined vacation, capital R&V, that's a thing.
Well, now let's talk about this.
I think
fair
he's got
points,
a point. Yes.
Fair points, the weather.
You couldn't predict a hurricane.
Right, but I think where Larry's fault comes in was that first line in the beginning about staying within the budget, right? Like he booked a budget tropical, so the place was not well equipped.
Well, I think,
even before the hurricane
yes,
hit,
yeah, it was
the place was a dump, and there was nothing to do on
I think
island.
Mac McIntyre is running hurricane specials and extremely discounting the rooms.
Probably.
When he knows there's a big tropical
it's all
storm
a racket.
coming.
Yeah.
He's like, when there's a hurricane coming, I get people in for cheap. I agree, though. This one isn't entirely his fault like some of the other ones where he takes the wrong fork in the road or he shovels the hole the wrong way. Like he just doesn't listen. He didn't know this could be.
He causes an avalanche.
Yeah, maybe. He had good intentions.
Okay, cousin John Adama has many thoughts and a roundup for us. Firstly, he writes, they landed on the beach to have the resort to themselves, and Jennifer is still crabbing. Fair point.
Also, if you notice in the exterior establishing shots of the Club Paradise, there's like people walking in front of it, but you don't see anybody else. There's people sitting in
Where
the
did they go? They were getting out ahead of the hurricane.
So, yeah.
They knew the hurricane was coming. Yeah. Okay, cousin John also writes, the terror of sharing a bed tells us where these relationships currently are.
It's pretty accurate. Yeah.
Also, this isn't on Larry at all. If this
one.
is the worst thing that's happening to her, life is pretty good.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Take advantage, Jennifer.
Somebody buy Jennifer a magazine. She's clearly unable to entertain herself at all. Wow, a lot of Jennifer hate from cousin John.
All of our criticisms of Larry can now shift to Jennifer because he's got a point, though. Like, come on, Jennifer. You're being so hard. Although she has almost died several times. So I don't know.
Okay, and then cousin John also writes, we spend so much time watching Larry get what he deserves, and this episode is the exact opposite of that. Balky says everyone is unhappy, but we only hear from one character over and over and over again, making it feel almost like they're covering for her. I suspect this was supposed to be a tribute of sorts to Mary Tyler Moore.
Oh.
Her character's dinner parties were legendarily awful to the point where everyone on the show tried to avoid them. It didn't quite land the same way here. It just made me dislike Jennifer and pity Larry. Still, I like the effort of trying something new, and the wire stunt was a fun visual gag. B-.
The wire stunt was great.
I think the wire stunt was great.
Jennifer comes off kind of a little much. I mean, we know she's high maintenance.
It's just like not a lot of depth to her character ever. It's just like the script just said Jennifer is angry. Just be upset with Larry.
Jennifer's mad at Larry the whole time, even though he took her on vacation to a tropical island. Anyways, don't be ridiculous at one time, right at the end.
Of course I have. Don't be ridiculous.
And we already mentioned Dimitri got a huge screen time.
Dimitri was held, but I feel like Dimitri could have been in like a tropical. Oh, we didn't even talk about the outfits.
Yes.
A tropical island shirt or something. Or some like flower lay around his neck.
Or Balky could have brought Dimitri with him, but he would have got blown away.
No, but like even before, even in that opening scene when he's holding him.
That would have been funny if he brought Dimitri and he gets blown away and Balky's like, Dimitri, no!
Dimitri!
He jumps after Dimitri. Yeah, he's got, Balky's wearing that blue shirt that's got like a tree.
Embroidered birds and branches,
but then there's no
sleeves.
The
sleeves.
Yeah, sleeveless. And Larry's got like white pants and a purple shirt.
But this time without the sleeves.
Yeah, he brought a nice Myposian outfit, tropical outfit to wear on vacation.
And even when they were dressed up to have dinner or whatever, he had a vest on, but it was like a plain looking vest. Okay, now we're at the segment of our show called PS Today, or Perfect Strangers Today, in which we talk about the trials of remaking this story today in 2023. Could we have this same episode? Would it hold up? What things would be similar? What things would change?
It feels pretty timeless, tell you the truth.
That's right. You could still buy
You can still get
dumpy
bad,
resorts.
bad resorts out there. Hurricanes
for
are
cheap.
even worse now.
Hurricanes are worse now. You don't even have to leave this country for a hurricane now.
I mean, can you do a comedy on hurricanes, though, how bad they are now? Yeah, you probably still could.
Maybe
I don't know.
not. Maybe. I mean,
But
yeah.
I think everything still applies. The mule cart joke still works. There's all-inclusive resorts. Maybe one's a scam.
Are there still places where you could go where you're stuck there till the next flight? Yeah, I think so. Until the next day.
Yeah, whether ferries or planes or whatever, little tropical islands. I don't know. I think it holds up.
I think, but if on television, if this show was to be remade today, it wouldn't be such a big deal that they had the same room, except for that they paid for 2 rooms. But like 2 couples, I'd be like, sure, we'll make it work.
That would be and then maybe the only thing is the couples would get rooms together, and it wouldn't be a big deal, even on prime time now. Yeah, so no, I think it holds up. So it's one of those timely ones, kind of like last week. Next week, Marianne moves in. That should provide lots of fun gags and uncomfortable, awkward situations. Why does she move in? We'll find out. But is there room? It's a pretty big apartment. The room for the 3. Now you have like one of them, the couple staying together. I'll be interested to see if they stay in the same room. Probably not.
Probably not. She'll be on the couch.
It's the 90s. It's 7:30 p.m. prime time.
Yes. No.
In the meantime, listener, if you enjoy this nostalgic trip down TGIF and your memories, you can support this show. You can give back. Visit our website, danceofjoypod.com. There's a button there. It says buy us a coffee. It's a virtual tip jar. You can buy us one coffee, a couple of coffees, ongoing coffees. All support is appreciated. Goes back into making the show for you every week or close to thereof.
And I quit coffee a few months ago, so I can only live vicariously through the virtual coffees that you all buy.
Yeah, see, you can still drink virtual coffees.
Please buy me a virtual coffee. I miss the stuff.
She needs the virtual caffeine.
I can't make myself. There's only so much I can make myself enjoy herbal tea, but here we are. Okay, in the meantime, you can also check us out on our website at danceofjoypod.com. And you can find there all the links and places where you can listen to the podcast, subscribe, leave us a rating, review, follow us. You can follow us from that website on all of our social media accounts. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can press a button right there and leave us a voice message. Tell us about the last tropical island you went to and what that was like. And have you ever been through a hurricane? Or if you just want to say hi, you can also just send us an email at danceofjoypod@gmail.com. Please say hi on one of those many ways. We're waiting to hear from you. We love it, and we'll shout you out on the show. But Imran, what is the most important thing our listeners should do?
Always check the weather forecast when you're booking a tropical paradise trip. You never know.
Never bring the spiders home with you.
Those hairy Volkswagens, you might need to be tethered to a high wire. The most important thing is sharing the show with your friends, with your family, with other Perfect Strangers fans in your life.
We will be very appreciative. Word of mouth goes a long, long way. And now we are so happy.
Now we are so happy we do the dance of joy.
Hey, 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 hey.